And welcome back. I'm joined once again by Dr. Waleed Phares, and we're discussing the shape of what a future Middle East war could look like. And Waleed, you just described how Hezbollah has such a presence throughout Lebanon. We've discussed how they're basically controlling the Lebanese government, which means Iran is controlling Lebanon. We talked about the missiles, the rockets littered throughout southern Lebanon on Israel's very doorstep. We have Hamas in Gaza. We have Hamas elements in the West Bank. Syria, hostile to Israel. What are we seeing here shaping up?
Well, Hezbollah traditionally has deployed its forces and its missiles in Lebanon, in the south, in the Bekaa, targeting the Israelis. And of course, the Israelis would react against them. But the bigger picture of Hezbollah is that if there is an engagement between them and Israelis, they would like to see the Syrian regime using its missile force also to shell the Israelis, and at the same time activate Hamas missile force so that they would have a concerted effort from Lebanon, from Syria, and from Gaza, and of course from the Iranian side. Right. One change could occur. If there is a regime change in Syria, then you're going to have probably more of a Muslim Brotherhood influence here. And if the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt will become more influential, they will be the ones to back up Hamas and not Iran.
So Israel's completely surrounded. You're going to have the Brotherhood in Egypt. Possibly the Brotherhood in Syria, but Assad is just as bad. Hezbollah, Hamas. It's almost a pincer movement surrounding Israel here. They're completely surrounded.
They are surrounded geostrategically speaking. It all depends on what's going to happen in Lebanon. If Hezbollah continues to dominate, then they're going to try to get closer to a confrontation. It all depends on what's going to happen to the Assad regime in Syria, and it's going to depend what's going to happen in Egypt with the Muslim Brotherhood.
So missiles from Syria, missiles from Lebanon, missiles from Gaza, slamming tiny Israel on all sides. And David, we can take a look at the broader map of the Middle East real quick. Okay, here's Israel, Lebanon. Here is Iran. Waleed, how would Iran get involved in any conflict? Or would they get involved directly or act just through their proxies?
Well, the Iranian strategies, Eric, for the last 10 years have been very active in creating what I call the bridge, the Eastern Front, meaning the Iranians now have an influence inside Iraq, in the southern part of Iraq, through the Mahdi forces and through other allies. And those areas that are Shia have elements that are very close to the Iranians. The Iranian vision, strategically, is to create that bridge through Iraq to Syria, from Syria into Hezbollah, and from Hezbollah into Israel. There is another axis of development of Iranian interests, which is Iran into Eastern Arabia. They are activating their forces or their cells inside Eastern Arabia. Let's remember that Iran has also an interest in northern Yemen with the Houthi rebels. Iran Navy today has facilities in Eritrea, and there is a developing relationship between the Iranian regime and Sudan. And let's close by saying that the Iranian Navy has been able to cross the Suez Canal into the Eastern Mediterranean. Right. That would give you, Eric, the view of what is Iran doing in the region.
It's all pervasive. And Waleed, we've also discussed how Iran is trying to establish Red Sea bases right along here. And this new Egyptian government and possibly the Muslim Brotherhood in the future looks like they'll be a lot friendlier towards Iran than the Mubarak regime was.
Well, to us in the United States, one of the most important and dangerous things the Iranians are doing, in addition, of course, to destabilizing the region, is this. We have our presence and our task forces in the Gulf just to contain the Iranians. Guess where the Iranians are? Behind our back in the Red Sea.
Waleed, we're seeing here how Hezbollah, Iran are in great position to control the Middle East. Coming up, we're going to talk about their presence right here in the Western Hemisphere. Don't move.